Yo, what's good everyone? Today we're going to be talking about Master Raven's crouch dash on Hitbox. So I've had a lot of requests, especially following the new SOCD update. So my Hitbox is on the latest Brook Universal Fighting Board firmware, just to let you know, because on the old firmware, it really is not possible without doing some really like weird input like this. And to me, that's just not practical. It's like, look at my hands. So like the input is down, down, forward, neutral. So in crouch. So let's establish what a crouch dash is first and what a crouch step is. So a crouch dash is just a normal crouch dash, right? And so in crouch, she has another crouch dash, which is called crouch step. So if you go into the move list, this is what we want to focus on. That is crouch step. And so people need to understand the difference between a crouch dash and a crouch step, because you can't do this repeated crouch dash it's not a crouch dash, it's a crouch step. So that's the number one thing to get out of the way, is determining what term we're talking about. And so we're talking about crouch step in this video. So how to chain crouch step, because you can chain crouch dash like this, and that's what a crouch dash wave dash is like. It's this, but normally we wouldn't want to use that. We would use that. And so the new firmware allows us to do this, do the same input for the old crouch dash, but it gives us a different version of crouch dash. So it gives us crouch step. And so this is more effective because crouch step is, she's still in crouch. If I put on the frames, she's always in crouch in this position. So of course she has access to full crouch moves, and plus she can press forward. So watch my hands and watch the overlay on top. So I'm holding down, I'm doing the crouch step, but then as soon as I hold forward, she's in standing. So therefore you can access QCF moves from it. So QCF 1, 2, QCF 4, QCF 2. So, and then obviously you can start doing, you know, stuff like that. But that is crouch step. And that's what we're going to be using. So let me explain how the firmware works now. So SOCD, it basically works. So if you press back and you press forward, that's neutral. Previously, if you press down and you pressed up, up would always override down. So you would get a jump or a sidestep in this situation. You would always get a sidestep left in this situation because I'm on P1. So if I pressed up, I would get a sidestep left. Now that's not the case. So if I'm pressing down and I press up, look on the overlay. I'm literally holding these two buttons, and on the overlay above, there's no button being pressed. As you can see, if I release up, down is being pressed. And the same goes for if I'm holding them both and I release down, up is being pressed now. So I'm jumping. So that's how the SOCD, the new SOCD works in terms of up and down. It's still the same with forward and back. So you can still do SOCD dash. So this is the back dash. So I'm pressing back, tapping forward, and that's a back dash. Same with forward dash. Press forward, tap back, that's a dash. So that's how SOCD works with back dash. So as you can see, you can still do your regular SOCD back dash, doesn't affect it. So how SOCD works in our favor now is you go to crouch dash, and because she's in full crouch now, you can access crouch step by doing like a slide input while in crouch. And then what you would do to do repeated crouch dash like this is so look at the input. So it's you can do it with down, down, forward and miss the down, but because the way I'm doing it is holding down, I'm always going to get a down, down, forward, down, neutral. But it still works with like down, down, forward, neutral, down, down, forward, neutral, down, down, forward, neutral. If you're in crouch, it just works. So it does two inputs. If it looks like this, look at the input, it's basically perfect. So if the input looks like that, it's still gonna work because it's the same input. It's just another down. You know what I mean? So it's still gonna work. So previously, if I'm playing on pad, sometimes the input would look different, but it still works because you're still doing crouch step in crouch. So it doesn't really matter like what input you do, as long as you get one or the other of those two inputs, you're fine. And then obviously you can start doing QCF moves from it. But the input is actually, and bear in mind that this, you can't do immediate timing. You can't just mash it because you're going to get something like that. It's not going to work. So, you know what I mean? It's just not going to work. There's a timing to it. Do you know what I mean? So there's a timing. So you, to initiate it, well, you can initiate it from crouch. But normally you would do that. So you would do a normal crouch dash, which is, but you would hold down. So now you can see I'm doing down, down, forward. So the input is, for this wave dash is you press down, down, forward, and then go back to down, because now you're in full crouch. So as you can see, I'm always in crouch. So from the crouch dash, because all you need to do, you don't even need to do QCF. You can do down, down, forward. So let me try and see. The crouch dash animation came out even with a down, down, forward. So you don't even need to press QCF. And actually, you can't do this method with QCF. You have to press down, down, forward and stay in crouch. So down, down, forward, down is always beneficial, or down, down, forward by itself. So that's how you initiate the wave dash. So you press down, down, forward, down, and then you basically, you keep holding down and you piano up and forward. So what this does is you press forward to give the down forward, and then you press up to give the neutral, and then you give, and then, so I'm literally holding down, and then I press forward again to give me that down, down, forward. So that's how I'm getting down, down, forward, down, neutral, down, down, forward, down, neutral. So all I'm doing is holding down and pianoing forward and up. But there's a timing to the piano, so you can't just, as I said, you can't just do that because it's not going to work. So that's how it works. Do it on P2 as well. It's the same input. But obviously, again, in my last guide, I was talking about how sometimes the ring finger can be quite weak, depending on, you know, if you use it in daily life, if you play instruments. For me, I don't play instruments and I don't use it much in day-to-day life, so it's quite weak for me, which is why hitbox transition is quite difficult for like 98% of people. But as you can see, this technique works on both sides. And as you can see, I'm pianoing forward and up while holding down. So, and I just explained why it's working, because I'm pressing down, then I'm going into crouch step, and then I'm cancelling the crouch step with up, which returns to neutral, and then I'm releasing it and pressing forward, which gives me another down, forward, down, down, forward. So that's why it's working. So technically, if we look at the input, right, we're doing down, down, forward, then we are pressing neutral, because remember, you can't hold it because it's just going to give you this. You can't hold forward, it's going to give you this. So you have to release forward, tap up, press forward, release forward, tap up. So you're pianoing those two buttons. And in my opinion, it's easier to use your right thumb to do this input. I just find it more natural, but you can find, you know, you can experiment, you can try it with your left thumb, but personally I feel like my right thumb is way easier to do it. That's probably just because I haven't practiced using my left thumb for this specific technique. Usually I would sidestep with both thumbs actually, just depends on what I'm doing. But yeah, that's just a little video on how to do Raven's wave dash or crouch step wave dash, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the video is 12 minutes. I do want to edit this down to make it a quick guide, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.